Welcome to the American Legion USD 465 Veterans Day Salute, where we honor all of our veterans of yesterday and today. I would like you to stand as Ron Howe, the Post Chaplain for Post 10, offers a prayer and remain standing as he sings the National Anthem.
I have one additional thing to do before that. I found this on Facebook, and I think you'll really like it. It says, unless you've been a soldier. Unless you've been a soldier, you just won't understand the things we have seen and done in the service of our land. We have trained to live in combat, to cope with awful sights that shouldn't been seen by anyone and keep you awake at night. We don't discuss the wounds we have to the body or the mind. We just put our hurts behind us and turn our memories to the blind. We are proud we served our country and remember those we lost. For the freedom you have today, they paid the awful cost. Let us pray. Father God, glory to you and glory to your Son Jesus, and thank you so much for allowing us to be here today. And I ask you to bless everyone here and bless all those women and men that are still keeping the gates of freedom open. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, oh, the ramparts we once were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave.
This morning I'd like to read a little bit about Veterans Day. This year is the 60th anniversary of Veterans Day in Emporia, Kansas, and the 59th anniversary for the rest of the nation. As most know, November 11th was originally called Armistice Day, in recognition of veterans from World War I, the war to end all wars. Unfortunately, humans insist on creating more veterans, so the suggestion of a barber in Emporia, Kansas, who thought veterans of World War II and Korea should also belong among their World War I counterparts. A bill was introduced in Congress in early 1953 to change Armistice Day to Veterans Day. On October 31st, 1953, Congress passed a concurrent resolution to rename November 11th. President Eisenhower signed the bill May 26, 1954, and it became law on June 1st, 1954. Apparently, the folks in Emporia knew that Eisenhower would sign the form, and ceremonies began in 1953. So while the nation observed the last Armistice Day, the city of Emporia celebrated the first Veterans Day on November 11th, 1953. At this time, I'd like to introduce our guest speaker, Susie Cochran. Susie is an advocate for the veterans and participates in many in many activities benefits of local organizations. Susie's car is also identifiable because of the Marine Corps decal on the rear bumper and her two nephews who serve in the Marines. Susie is a middle school principal, and we welcome her today.
Well, first of all, good morning. I would like to thank all of those who have unselfishly given their time today to make this celebration possible. I am truly deeply honored and extremely humbled by this opportunity to speak to you. I want to apologize, first of all, for referring to my notes the entire time I speak, but I don't want to leave to chance or to my memory the message that I wish to share with you and the message which I think we all need to hear. What a glorious day and glorious group of individuals that we have in front of us. We have an awesome crowd of community, a large number of students and staff from our school, and most importantly, our cherished veterans and active military from all branches of our armed forces who have served or are serving this country. On Veterans Day, to the students, I think it's important to always define what a veteran is. Students, the official definition, if you were to look it up or nowadays Google it, of a veteran is a person who has served in a military force, especially one who has fought in a war. But to me, there is a more meaningful and simpler definition of what a veteran is. A veteran to me is a person who at one time in their life made the conscious decision to write a blank check payable to our country for an amount up to and including their life. They chose to serve. To me, it can't be overstated how much of a sacrifice service in the military is. Someone was willing to serve and even give their life so that we may have the opportunity to enjoy our freedoms. We have the freedom to worship as we choose. We have the freedom to change the direction of our government by voting. We have the freedom to live where we choose. We have the freedom to choose our life's work, just to name a few. And most importantly, we have the awesome freedom of being able to gather here today and honor those who have served our country. The last freedom that I mentioned is what this day is really all about. We set aside time to truly honor those who served and possibly pay the ultimate price so we may continue to enjoy the freedom that makes this country the greatest nation in the world. To the educators in attendance today, you have chosen to serve also. You've chosen to serve our youth, and we are very blessed to have wonderful teachers and staff serving our students. Teachers, my message to you today regarding your service is know that through your service, you have the opportunity to teach not only reading, writing, and arithmetic, but also leadership with your students, teamwork, diversity, efficiency, respect for procedure, and how to triumph over adversity. All skills that servicemen and women in uniform are taught and skills that serve all individuals in a positive manner. To the students, know that while you're not yet old enough to have the chance or make the choice to take the skills you are taught and serve in the military, you still have the opportunity to serve in ways that have a positive impact on your family and your community. Students, service can be simple, small acts of kindness at home. Maybe it's helping a brother or sister who has had a bad day by giving them a hug, by listening to them, or maybe helping out with a simple chore before being asked. In the community, you can write thank you cards to veterans, you can participate in recycling efforts, or volunteer in something as simple but important as a canned food drive. All examples of service. Simply put, for students, Service for you is just finding little ways to give help, and remember that those little things you do to help others play a very big part in determining the type of individual that you will become as an adult. November is upon us, and it's typically the time of year where people are in need. I would just remind us all today that November is a great time to give your time and effort to serve and help others who may be less fortunate. And while November is typically recognized by many as the month that our favorite warm and cozy sweater is brought out from the closet, hot cocoa becomes a common and comforting drink, fall and cooler weather is upon us, and the leaves, they're just beautiful. The leaves in all their glorious color, they start to gently fall from the trees. And of course, Thanksgiving draws near. And while Thanksgiving with food and family is comforting to look forward to, it is of the utmost importance to associate November with Veterans Day. Thanksgiving is a special day when we pause and we give thanks for the things we have, but Veterans Day is equally important. For Veterans Day is a day when we have the chance to pause with reverence to give thanks to the men and women who have fought and served so that we may have the opportunity to be thankful for the things we have. I'd love to be in front of you today and tell you a story about a member of my family who was decorated with medals for a selfless act of bravery during his or her service. But until recently, my only knowledge of a family member who served was my grandfather, who served in the Navy in the early 1920s when it was mandated through the draft. Today, I am proud and fortunate to be able to say that I have two amazing young men that are my nephews who have chosen to serve our country as members of the United States Marine Corps Reserves. I thank God for them, and I thank them for the decision they have made to serve our country. It is also with great appreciation that in recent years I have come to know and develop deep and cherished friendships with some amazing members of each branch of the armed forces within our own community. I love you guys. You are great friends. As fortunate as I am to know these present-day heroes, I often feel a bit ashamed that I don't know the names of the larger number of veterans who have passed before them or which battle they died for. I don't know their final resting place or the uniform they may have worn. Before I came down today, I left the middle school and I stopped by the Veterans Cemetery, just kind of to soak it all in. And I realized I don't know Donald Steele's or Hugh Graham or Stanley Burns' story of service. But what I do know is that their spirit still exists, their courage is still and should always be admired, and their sacrifices are and will continue to be honored. As we leave after today's ceremony ends, please remember that we truly, truly do live in the greatest country on earth. Be proud and never ashamed to defend what is right in order to show your patriotism. We are the land of the free and the home of the brave, but we are that mainly because of the men and women who selflessly have paid or are willing to pay the ultimate sacrifice to defend our freedom. The least, and I mean the very least that we can do as citizens of this country is to honor them by thanking them and always appreciating and never disrespecting those things they would or have given their lives to defend. I thank you again for the opportunity to speak to you today. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you all. Appreciate that. Before we lay the wreaths this morning, I'd like you all to recognize these flags that are out here in front of us. These flags indicate the 777 members of the armed forces who have passed in foreign wars to protect our freedom. These are all from members from the state of Kansas. At this time, I'd like to lay the wreaths. I'd like to call on the American Legion first, please. The American Legion Auxiliary. Eight and 40. POW, MIA. Vietnam veterans. Winfield Fire Department. And the Cali County Sheriff's Department. At this time, I'd like to make a special thanks to Matt Anderson for the use of the sounding system. I'd remind everybody from 11:30 to 1:30 there's a free bean feed at the American Legion. In closing, on behalf of all the veterans, thank you for being here. Please stand as the gun salute and taps as we remember those veterans who have gone before us. Again, thank you all for coming. That is the end of our ceremony.